Most people believe the worst pain a parent can feel is losing a child. But what if, 6 years later, you saw that same child alive, holding hands with the very man you thought you knew better than anyone?
This is CrimeAtlas. Thank you for joining us today. Hit the like button if you enjoy this video, subscribe, and turn on your post notifications.
Olivia Hart had always believed her life was steady, predictable, maybe even blessed. She lived in Boulder, Colorado, where the mountains framed the skies like a constant reminder that stability was possible. Her husband, Daniel Hart, was the kind of man people openly envied. Calm, attentive, reliable. A civil engineer with a reputation for meticulous detail. A man who planned everything down to the minute. And then there was their daughter, Lily, just 8 years old, bright, artistic, always humming the same lullaby before falling asleep. She had Daniel's deep brown eyes and Olivia's wild curiosity. From the outside, the Hart family felt unbreakable. But people rarely see the cracks until the entire structure collapses. The morning before their cruise, Olivia stood in the kitchen packing Lily's favorite snacks. She felt a warm glow in her chest. This vacation was overdue. Daniel walked in, his phone pressed to his ear, whispering to someone. Another work call, he claimed. Olivia paused, watching the tension in his jaw. He's been on edge lately, she thought. Maybe he really does need the break. When he noticed her looking, he smiled. Too quickly, too forced. But Olivia convinced herself she imagined it. For weeks, Lily had been waking up at night. Nightmares. She told her mother, "Mommy, I dream someone is calling my name in the dark." Olivia had brushed it off as childhood imagination. But on the last night before they left, Lily clung to her mother's sleeve. "Mom, what if something bad happens on the ship?" Olivia knelt, smoothing her daughter's hair, fighting the uneasy ripple in her stomach. "Nothing bad will happen, sweetheart," she whispered, words she didn't fully believe. A week before the trip, Daniel started being different. He became strangely attentive, leaving Olivia little love notes, making Lily's favorite pancakes, booking surprise activities on the cruise. He even bought matching ocean blue outfits for the family photo. It was sweet, too sweet. It felt like someone desperately trying to rewrite a story already in motion. Olivia's best friend, Jenna, noticed it too. "Liv, something feels off with Daniel," Jenna had said over coffee. "You're sure he's okay?" Olivia had laughed it off, brushing away the uneasy flutter in her chest. But deep down, she felt it too, like Daniel was preparing for something. That was the third red flag. One afternoon, Olivia found a drawing Lily had done for school, a family portrait. But something made Olivia freeze. Lily had drawn herself, standing far away from her parents. Daniel was drawn with dark smudges around him, like shadows. Their house looked cracked. When Olivia asked what it meant, Lily only shrugged. "I don't know. It just felt like that. Kids don't lie with their art." But Olivia folded the drawing away, telling herself she was overthinking. The night before they left, Lily insisted on sleeping in Olivia's bed. While Daniel packed in the next room, Olivia felt her daughter trembling. "Lily, talk to me," Olivia whispered. "I don't want to go on the cruise," Lily murmured. "Someone keeps telling me to follow them." Chill shot down Olivia's spine. Who's telling you that?" Lily shook her head. "I don't know, but I hear Daddy whispering sometimes when he thinks I'm asleep." Olivia's heart thudded painfully. Daniel entered the room just then, smiling as if nothing was wrong. "All set for tomorrow?" he asked. Olivia stared at him, wanting to ask 1,000 questions, but Lily squeezed her hand in silent fear, and she stayed quiet. The next morning, as they arrived at the port of Miami, Olivia tried to shake the unease. Families laughed. Children ran excitedly toward the towering Carnival cruise ship. Daniel seemed unusually energized, taking Lily's hand, swinging it playfully. "Best vacation ever," he kept repeating. But as they approached the boarding line, Olivia saw Lily's face go pale. She dug her small fingers deeper into Olivia's palm. "Mom," she whispered, "please don't let go." Those were the last innocent words Olivia would ever hear from her daughter. 6 days later, Lily would be declared dead. The first 3 days on the Carnival cruise passed in a blur of ocean wind and forced smiles. Olivia tried to shake off the tension that had followed her from Colorado, telling herself this vacation was supposed to be a reset, a chance to breathe again. Yet every time she laughed with Lily at the pool or took pictures on the deck, she felt the same strange heaviness, like she was being watched. Lily stayed close, too close, clinging to Olivia's hand, refusing to go anywhere without her mother. Daniel insisted it was just separation anxiety, but Olivia saw something deeper in their daughter's eyes, fear she couldn't name. Daniel, meanwhile, had become increasingly restless. He paced during sunsets. He disappeared for long stretches, returning with excuses about running into old college acquaintances or checking excursion schedules. Whenever Olivia asked for details, he became strangely defensive, asking her why she was suddenly interrogating him. She told herself not to push. Everyone deserved to unwind differently. Still, a quiet uneasiness settled into her bones, whispering that something about this trip wasn't what it seemed. On the fourth night of the cruise, they attended a family magic show held in a crowded lounge, with children laughing and parents sipping colorful drinks. Olivia tried to make the night magical for Lily, cheering loudly, pulling her daughter on her lap, tickling her when she looked anxious. But Daniel sat several seats away, scrolling through his phone with a seriousness that did not match the joyful chaos around them. At one point, he leaned in and whispered something to Lily. Olivia couldn't hear the words over the crowd, but Lily stiffened, nodded quickly, and refused to look at her father afterward. When Olivia tried to ask Lily what he had said, Lily only shook her head and murmured, "It's nothing." But it wasn't nothing. It had weight. It had fear. Later in the evening, the ship hosted a massive outdoor carnival-themed celebration on the upper deck. Bright lights, flashing colors, music vibrating through the metal floors. Olivia held Lily's hand as they walked among the crowd, trying to make the night feel safe. Daniel kept drifting in and out of the festivities, texting constantly, stepping away for calls Olivia never overheard. Every time he returned, he seemed more anxious, glancing over his shoulder as if he expected someone. When midnight approached, the energy of the celebration reached its peak. Fog machines pumped white clouds across the deck, creating a dreamlike haze. People danced, shouted, laughed, and for the first time all trip, Olivia felt herself relax. She lifted Lily into her arms, spinning her around, laughing as her daughter squealed. Everything felt almost normal. Almost. Then came the moment Olivia never stopped replaying in her mind. A man in a bright carnival mask bumped into her. Just a second, nothing more. She apologized automatically and looked back toward Lily, only to realize she wasn't holding her daughter anymore. Lily stood several feet away, staring toward the railings at the far end of the deck, her eyes glazed and distant, as if she were listening to someone only she could hear. "Lily," Olivia called out. Her daughter didn't respond. Olivia moved toward her, weaving through the crowd, but a wall of dancers briefly blocked her view. When she reached the railings, Lily was gone. Panic tore through her chest. She called her name, louder, louder, her voice cracking as she pushed through the crowd. Daniel appeared out of nowhere, asking what happened, but Olivia barely heard him. Her entire world shrank to a single desperate mission: find her child. Security was alerted. Alarms were quietly triggered. The celebration dissolved into chaos as officers spread across the ship. Olivia ran through every hallway, every dining area, every corner of the deck, screaming for Lily until her voice gave out. At one point, she saw Daniel talking urgently to one of the ship's officers, gesturing toward the lower decks. When Olivia approached, Daniel quickly dismissed the officer and told her they should keep looking elsewhere. She didn't think much of it then. Her mind was fractured with terror. But later, that moment would haunt her. Hours passed. At sunrise, a grim-faced investigator approached them and asked to talk privately. He explained that security footage showed a small figure near the railing during the carnival celebration, and then nothing. No clear images. No details. Just a disappearance. Search crews combed the water. The official report stated Lily had likely fallen overboard. A tragic accident. Daniel broke into loud, heaving sobs. Too loud. Too dramatic. Olivia felt frozen, her body numb, her mind fracturing with disbelief. She didn't cry. Not yet. Not because she didn't love her daughter, but because something inside her refused to believe this was the end. Mothers know when something is truly gone. And in that moment, Olivia knew with a strange, painful clarity that something about the explanation wasn't right. Still, authorities closed the case. The cruise resumed, and Olivia returned home with a suitcase full of folded clothes that still smelled like Lily's shampoo. It would take her 6 years to discover the truth. 6 years before she saw her daughter again alive, smiling, and holding hands with the man who had promised to love them both. After Lily's disappearance, Olivia felt her world collapse into a gray fog of unanswered questions. The cruise line claimed all protocols had been followed, but something didn't sit right. Security footage was lost due to technical issues. Crew members gave conflicting statements, and the official report labeled Lily's death as an accident, a tragic, unfortunate misstep in a moment of chaos. Every official reassurance, every pat on the shoulder from investigators, felt like another layer of suffocating doubt. Daniel, meanwhile, became both a comfort and a puzzle. He sobbed openly in public, clutching Olivia's hands and whispering that everything would be okay. Yet there were moments, subtle, fleeting, that made Olivia pause. The way he avoided her gaze when she mentioned security footage, the nervous tapping of his fingers when a family member mentioned the pool deck, the small but deliberate delays in returning her calls when she asked about the investigation. Each tiny irregularity planted seeds of unease, though Olivia tried to ignore them. She told herself it was grief talking, that she was imagining cracks in someone she loved. But mothers have instincts that cannot be silenced. Days turned into weeks, and the official investigation closed. The police, satisfied with the cruise line's explanation, filed the case away. Olivia returned to her apartment in Savannah, her heart heavy, her mind consumed by the last moments she saw Lily alive. She began poring over every memory, every conversation, every smile, searching for a clue she had overlooked. That was when she noticed something strange in her own photographs from the cruise, the frame she had taken to capture happy family moments. In the background of one picture, barely noticeable, was a figure wearing a carnival mask, standing too close to Lily, watching intently. She had dismissed it at first, thinking it was just another passenger. But the angle, the shadow, the lingering presence made her stomach knot. Then came the first call that made her blood run cold. It was a voice she barely recognized, speaking with a calm, almost rehearsed tone. "Ms. Hart, your daughter. We need you to stop looking into this. Some things are best left buried." Olivia had hung up immediately, her hands trembling, but the warning lingered. Someone knew she was searching. Someone had been watching. Months passed, and the tension between her and Daniel grew. At home, he became unpredictable. Small arguments escalated into shouting matches, and Olivia noticed him sneaking out at odd hours, returning with hurried explanations. She began noticing patterns in his behavior she hadn't before. A phone that buzzed constantly and always stayed face down, sudden late-night trips to the office he claimed didn't exist, and documents she wasn't allowed to touch. One evening, while tidying the apartment, Olivia stumbled upon a folder tucked behind a drawer. Receipts, notes, and schedules that didn't make sense. Her fingers froze as she flipped through them. Strange names, dates matching cruise departure schedules, cryptic codes scribbled in margins. She shoved the folder back, heart hammering, unsure if she wanted to know more. And then, one night, Olivia found herself staring at Daniel as he left for another work meeting. He paused at the door, turned, and smiled. Not his usual reassuring smile, but one that carried calculation and something she couldn't name. It was a look she would later describe as too knowing, like he was guarding a secret she wasn't meant to uncover. As the months dragged on, the whispers of unease became louder in her mind. Olivia began connecting dots that didn't seem to exist to anyone else. Crew member disappearances, odd gaps in surveillance footage, Daniel's increasingly suspicious behavior. But who would believe her? Who would take a mother's fears seriously when grief had already branded her as fragile? Then, the unthinkable happened. She received an envelope slid under her apartment door. No return address. Nothing but a single photograph. Her stomach dropped as she stared. It was Lily, smiling, wearing a dress from the cruise, standing near the ship's railing. But something was wrong. Someone else was behind her, obscured, but unmistakably there. Daniel's features were partially visible, looming just out of focus. Olivia dropped to her knees, the photograph trembling in her hands. How could this be? The photo raised more questions than it answered. Who had taken it? Why now, 6 years later? And most terrifying of all, had Lily really been gone all this time? Olivia realized with horror that someone close to her had been orchestrating events from the shadows the entire time. And if she wanted to find the truth, she would have to confront a reality she wasn't prepared for. If you discovered evidence suggesting someone you trusted was hiding your child for years, would you confront them directly or investigate in secret first? Olivia's life after the cruise became a strange, gray blur. Days were marked by hollow routines, coffee that never warmed her, emails she could barely read, and a home that felt both too big and unbearably small without Lily. Friends tried to offer comfort, but even their words felt hollow. Each time someone said, "She's in a better place," Olivia's stomach knotted. They didn't understand. No one could. Lily's laughter was supposed to echo through her home, not disappear forever. Daniel tried to keep them both afloat, but his behavior grew erratic. He would pace at night, muttering to himself, and sometimes leave for hours with vague explanations. Olivia started noticing strange phone calls, some muted, some whispered, always at odd hours. Once, she glanced over and saw him hurriedly closing a folder on the dining table when she entered the room. The flicker of panic in his eyes didn't escape her. Grief is a strange companion. It isolates you, and it sharpens instincts. Olivia began to dig into the cruise documentation, the accident report, the security footage. She requested every file she could access, but every time she thought she was making progress, the trail went cold. Logs were missing. Surveillance tapes malfunctioned. Even staff interviews contradicted themselves. The more she searched, the more she felt like the world was intentionally hiding something from her. One evening, 6 months after the cruise, Olivia returned home to find a manila envelope slipped under her door. Inside were documents she didn't recognize, receipts for flights, hotel stays, even a small ledger with coded notations matching the cruise's schedule. She felt a chill. Why would anyone leave this for me now? Who knew I was still looking? That same night, Daniel came home later than usual. He seemed exhausted, tense, almost fragile. Olivia confronted him about his late nights, about the missing files, about the envelope. He smiled, calm, almost too calm. "Olivia, you're reading into things that aren't there," he said. His voice was gentle, but it carried a weight that made her heart race. It was a warning, not reassurance. Weeks turned into months. Olivia began keeping journals, documenting every thought, every fleeting suspicion, every unexplained moment. She noticed patterns: Daniel's absences, his phone calls, the strange behavior of crew members who had been on the ship. And deep down, she couldn't shake the feeling that Lily's disappearance had been orchestrated, not an accident. Then one night, as Olivia reviewed her notes, her phone buzzed. An unknown number flashed on the screen. She answered, heart pounding, and a cold, unfamiliar voice whispered, "Stop searching, or you'll never find her." The line went dead before she could respond. Olivia sank in her chair, trembling. Someone knew. Someone had been watching her all along. She realized with horror that the truth about Lily's disappearance had been closer to home than she ever dared imagine, and that confronting it could put her in danger. If you were being warned not to investigate your child's disappearance, would you stop, or risk everything to find out the truth? 6 years had passed since that tragic night on the cruise, and Olivia had almost convinced herself that Lily was truly gone. She traveled constantly, attending conferences and meetings, but one afternoon in Charlotte, North Carolina, everything changed. Olivia had stopped at a gas station on the outskirts of the city, trying to stretch her legs and grab a coffee. It was a quiet, sunlit afternoon. Families moved leisurely through the lot, and the air smelled faintly of gasoline and blooming jasmine. Her eyes wandered over the parked cars when they froze. There, beside a silver SUV, stood a woman with long chestnut hair. Older, yes, but unmistakable. The same deep brown eyes. The same subtle dimple in her cheek. She was guiding two small children into the car, laughing softly, her posture protective but tense. And standing beside her, holding groceries, was Daniel. Olivia's chest tightened, and her stomach churned. "It can't be," she whispered, words catching her throat. "Lily alive. And Daniel, her ex-husband, with her." Her mind raced, disbelief colliding with a rush of fear and adrenaline. For a moment, Olivia felt paralyzed, unsure whether to scream or to run. She fumbled for her phone, taking several pictures as the SUV's engine started. Lily glanced up for just a second, and Olivia saw the fear in her daughter's eyes. The same look she had the night before the cruise. Recognition, but terror. And then the car rolled forward, blending into the traffic. Olivia didn't follow immediately. Her hands shook, her thoughts chaotic. How is this possible? Was Lily really alive all this time? What has Daniel been hiding? She had no answers, only questions twisting like knives in her chest. Later that night, Olivia booked a motel nearby, under a false name. She watched from the parking lot as the SUV arrived at a gated community, Cedar Ridge Estates. Security waved Daniel through as if he belonged there. Olivia felt a chill run through her body. This was no ordinary family life. This was something planned, something secret, and she had just stumbled upon it. Her mind raced with possibilities. Was Lily being held against her will? Was Daniel complicit? Or had he somehow created a new life for her daughter without anyone knowing? Every theory was terrifying. She realized that if she wanted to find the truth, she would have to take extreme measures. And even then, she had no guarantee of what she would uncover. Olivia spent the night drafting notes, capturing license plate numbers, and tracing patterns. By dawn, she had a plan forming in her mind, though every step she considered seemed dangerous, reckless even. As the sun rose over Charlotte, Olivia's phone buzzed. An unknown number flashed. She answered, and a quiet, trembling voice whispered, "Mom, don't come any closer. He'll see you." If you saw your child alive years after their disappearance, but with someone you trusted, would you confront them immediately or investigate secretly first? Olivia knew she couldn't do this alone. The web surrounding Lily's disappearance, and now her shocking reappearance, was too complex, too dangerous. After hours of research, she found him. Samuel Price, a 52-year-old former Charlotte PD detective, rough around the edges, with a reputation for digging where others feared to tread. He had left the force years ago following a corruption scandal, but Olivia sensed he had seen enough darkness to handle the kind of truth she was chasing. Their first meeting was in a dimly lit diner on East Independence Boulevard. Samuel sat across from her, hands wrapped around a chipped coffee mug, eyes narrowed, studying her every move. "You've been following someone," he said flatly. "I can tell. And you're too careful to be doing this on a whim." Olivia swallowed her fear. "My daughter, she's alive. I saw her today, with my ex-husband. I need to know what's happening. I need to find out why." Samuel didn't flinch. He leaned back, steepling his fingers. "You're stepping into something bigger than you can imagine. Whoever's orchestrating this, they don't play fair." Within days, Samuel had begun piecing together a timeline. The cruise, the accidental death, the strange behaviors of Daniel, missing crew members, all of it fit a pattern he had seen before. He explained carefully. One of the crew's employees the night Lily disappeared, Sierra Holt, had vanished without explanation. Officially, she had no records prior to that year, no family, no past employment. Samuel suspected she wasn't who the authorities claimed she was. He showed Olivia her own photographs from the cruise, the one she had taken of Lily near the railing. Samuel circled a faint figure in one photo, masked, partially hidden. "Someone wanted you to see this," he said. "Or maybe they wanted you to find it eventually. Either way, this is not random." Olivia felt her chest tighten. Why now? Why after 6 years? Samuel handed her a folder filled with documents, travel logs, cryptic notes, and a list of names she didn't recognize. "Start here. Track these, and you might start seeing the bigger picture," he said. As they reviewed the files late into the night, A sense of dread settled over Olivia. Every lead, every clue, suggested someone had been controlling Lily's life meticulously, someone who had anticipated every move. And the closer they got, the more dangerous it became. Hours later, as Olivia returned to her motel, her phone buzzed. An unknown number flashed on the screen. She hesitated but answered. A low, hurried voice whispered, "Stop looking. If you go any further, she won't survive." The line went dead. Olivia sank onto the bed, trembling. Samuel had warned her, and now the warning was personal. Olivia realized with a sinking heart that someone knew she had found her daughter, and that they were watching her even now. The next week, Samuel and Olivia dug deeper, connecting seemingly unrelated dots. The deeper they went, the darker the truth became. Daniel's life was not what it appeared to be. His career, his connections, his clean image, they were all meticulously crafted facades. Samuel uncovered evidence of a network that preyed on vulnerable families, moving children across state lines, creating false identities, and erasing records. Cruise ships, private adoption agencies, shell companies in Florida and Texas. It was all connected. And Lily wasn't just a victim. She was part of something much larger. Olivia stared at the documents spread across the motel table. Handwritten notes, coded schedules, and financial transfers, all linked to Daniel. Her ex-husband, the man she had loved and trusted, was entangled in this sinister operation. Her stomach twisted. How could he hide this for 6 years while I thought he grieved with me? Then came the most disturbing revelation yet. Samuel had traced a series of communications between Daniel and someone identified only as Coordinator X. Dates matched perfectly with the cruise, with the disappearance of Sierra Holt, and with every mysterious absence Daniel had ever had. Samuel's voice was low when he spoke. "She's alive because of him," he said. "He orchestrated it. The girl we're chasing isn't just your daughter. She's part of their system now. And if we aren't careful, she could disappear again." Olivia felt a cold wave of fear. The network had been careful, deliberate, and always one step ahead. She realized that Daniel had been living a double life, controlling every aspect of Lily's existence, shielding her from the world in ways Olivia could hardly imagine. But then Samuel dropped a bombshell. Sierra Holt, the missing cruise employee, had not vanished voluntarily. She had been investigating the network undercover for a federal agency. She had tried to protect Lily the night she disappeared, but was intercepted. Her disappearance had been orchestrated to erase evidence of what really happened. Olivia's mind raced. Lily is alive. Daniel orchestrated it. And Sierra Holt tried to stop it. Everything suddenly made sense, but at the same time, nothing did. Questions multiplied faster than answers. Who else was involved? How many people had been watching them all these years? And if Daniel had orchestrated this entire life for Lily, what did she think of him now? As Olivia and Samuel plotted their next steps, a faint noise came from outside the motel room window. A shadow moved just beyond the blinds, pausing before disappearing. Olivia's pulse quickened. Someone was close, watching, waiting. Olivia realized with a jolt that the network, or Daniel himself, was aware she had connected the dots, and they weren't going to let her investigate without consequences. Olivia's nights became restless, filled with shadows and quiet fear. She couldn't stop thinking about the SUV she had seen in Charlotte and the gated community it had entered. Samuel had spent hours cross-referencing addresses, surveillance footage, and flight records. What they uncovered left Olivia trembling. Lily had been living under a new identity, one carefully constructed to erase every trace of her past. She was now Elena Hartman, with a new life, new children, and a man, her father, Daniel, positioned as her protector, her husband in this fabricated reality. The revelation hit Olivia harder than anything she could have imagined. Her daughter wasn't just hidden. She had been fully absorbed into a life designed to erase her. Every action Daniel had taken over the past 6 years, every absence, every phone call, every coded meeting, it all led to this meticulously orchestrated existence. And Lily had never been free to make a choice. Olivia tried to process it logically, but her emotions threatened to consume her. She imagined her daughter waking up each morning in a home that was not her own, playing with children who were strangers, under the constant surveillance of the man she trusted most. The thought made her stomach twist. How do you reach someone who has been told you abandoned them? That night, her phone buzzed. A new message appeared from an unknown number. Mom, I see you. Don't call anyone. He'll know. Olivia's heart stopped. The voice, soft, quivering, undeniably Lily's, had reached her after 6 years. A small thread connected them again, but it was fragile, dangerous. Samuel cautioned her. Don't rush in. One wrong move, and they could disappear again, or worse. Olivia spent hours formulating a plan. She studied Elena's routines, noting when she left the house, when Daniel left, when the children napped. Every second counted. Every observation was a thread she could use to pull the truth closer. But the more she learned, the more she realized the terrifying scope of Daniel's control. Her daughter's entire life had been engineered, and now, any wrong step could ruin the fragile connection they had just begun to rebuild. Then came the call. A video call. Her phone vibrated violently. On the screen appeared Lily. Older, cautious, her face pale. The first words out of her daughter's mouth were, Mom, don't trust him. He's everywhere. Olivia felt her hands go cold. Her child was alive but trapped. The man she had married, the man she had loved, had not only hidden her daughter, but controlled her life entirely. As Olivia reached out to comfort Lily through the screen, footsteps sounded behind her. A shadow fell across the window, and Lily's voice quivered. Mom, hide. He's here. The next hours blurred into a tense vigil. Olivia stayed in her motel room, her eyes glued to the screen, waiting for another call, another sign, any communication from Lily. She couldn't sleep. Every creak outside, every flicker of streetlight, made her pulse race. Then, just before dawn, her phone rang again. Lily's face appeared, trembling, her eyes darting to the corners of the room behind her. Mom, I have to tell you something, she whispered. He said you gave me up, that you didn't care. He's made everyone believe it. But it's not true. I know it's not true. Olivia's throat tightened. Baby, I never stopped searching for you. I never stopped loving you. I never gave you up. He'll know if I speak too long, Lily said, glancing behind her. A faint shadow moved near the edge of the frame. Olivia's heart seized. Mom, if something happens to me, you have to find the truth about that night on the ship. Everything was planned. He didn't just take me. He's dangerous. Lily leaned closer, whispering so only Olivia could hear. Sierra Holt, she tried to protect me. She didn't make it. That's why I had to disappear. Olivia's blood ran cold. Sierra Holt, the missing employee, the agent no one had accounted for, had been silenced the night of Lily's disappearance. Daniel had orchestrated not only her child's life, but also covered up the evidence of someone trying to save her. The call ended abruptly. The screen went black. Olivia's phone fell from her hands as she pressed the buttons in panic, but it wouldn't reconnect. Her mind raced. Every revelation confirmed her worst fears. Lily was alive, trapped, and under constant surveillance. Daniel was not the man she thought he was. He was a manipulator, a controller, someone capable of hiding her child for years and constructing an entire life around deception. Olivia clenched her fists. She had come too far to stop now. She would not let Daniel, or the network he was part of, get away with this. But she realized with chilling clarity that the next step would be the most dangerous yet. One wrong move, and Lily could vanish forever. A knock on the motel door startled her. No one had her room number, but the call had ended, and yet someone was outside, waiting. Olivia froze, heart hammering, as a voice whispered through the crack. You're closer than you think. Stop now, or lose her. If the person holding your child threatened you directly, would you risk confronting them immediately, or wait for a chance to gather more evidence? Olivia's heart pounded like a war drum as she and Samuel finalized their plan. Every detail had to be precise. One mistake could make Lily vanish forever. Samuel had traced Daniel's routines, the security rotations of Cedar Ridge Estates, and the little patterns that revealed how tightly controlled Lily's life had been. They had 24 hours before Daniel would likely move her again, deeper into the network's reach. The night was dark and quiet as Olivia parked her car a block away from the estate, binoculars in hand. Her hand shook, but her mind was sharp, focused. She watched as Daniel's SUV rolled through the gates, bringing Lily and the two children back from an afternoon outing. Each movement was calculated, predictable. Samuel whispered instructions from the passenger seat, guiding her through every step. Olivia's stomach churned as she noticed Lily glance briefly toward her hiding spot. Recognition flashed in her eyes, fear mingling with longing. She pressed a hand to her mouth, trying to suppress a gasp. She knows I'm here. She knows I haven't given up. Minutes stretched like hours. The gates closed behind the SUV, and Olivia could see Daniel entering the house first, carrying a small grocery bag. Lily followed, holding her children's hands tightly, eyes alert. She was a mother now, but still the same little girl Olivia remembered, brave, frightened, and trapped in someone else's world. Samuel pointed to a side gate that appeared less monitored. "That's your window," he whispered. "Once you're in, move fast and stay quiet." Olivia swallowed her fear and took a deep breath. Every step felt like walking on glass. The world outside became a blur as she scaled the low fence, praying the children wouldn't notice her presence. She moved along the shadows, heart thundering, until she reached a side window where she could hear muffled voices inside. Inside, she glimpsed Daniel pacing, talking into a phone. His tone was calm, but there was an edge of calculation. "She's getting too close," he muttered. "I need to move them before she interferes." Olivia froze. He had anticipated her. The adrenaline spiked, but she forced herself to stay hidden. She had Lily within reach. Almost. But Daniel's awareness made every second deadly. Then, from behind a tree, a figure emerged. Another man. Olivia didn't recognize him. He paused, scanning the area. Samuel had warned her there could be others involved. The network is bigger than we thought. Olivia realized with terror that Daniel's control extended far beyond what she imagined. If she moved now, she risked not only her daughter's safety, but her own life. Olivia crouched behind the hedge, calculating her next move. Her mind raced. "I've come this far. I cannot turn back now." Samuel whispered through an earpiece, his voice calm but urgent. "You have one shot, Olivia. Make it count." She watched as Lily led the children toward a small backyard play area, the sun casting long shadows across the lawn. Daniel was momentarily distracted, speaking sharply to the man who had appeared from the shadows. Olivia seized the opportunity, moving silently toward the window she had previously scouted. Just as she reached it, a voice from inside called out, "Elena, time for your lesson." Lily froze, glancing at her father. Olivia's heart clenched. This was her daughter, the girl she had mourned, feared lost, trapped under a life she hadn't chosen. With a surge of determination, Olivia banged on the window. Lily turned sharply, eyes widening in recognition. The children squealed, startled, but Lily's gaze locked with her mother's. "She mouthed, Mom." Daniel's head snapped toward the sound. The man from earlier stepped in front of him. Olivia's pulse raced as she realized this wasn't going to be simple. Daniel moved toward the window, his expression unreadable. And then, he stopped. A loud crash came from the backyard. The children cried out. Olivia froze, then realized the man had intentionally collided with a garden bench, diverting Daniel's attention just long enough. Lily's eyes filled with fear and hope at the same time. Samuel's voice crackled urgently. "Go. Now. Don't wait." Olivia didn't hesitate. She broke the lock, slipping inside, and ran toward Lily. Her daughter shrank back, uncertainty flashing across her face. Olivia stopped, kneeling to meet her gaze. "It's me, Lily. Mom. I'm here." For a split second, time froze. Then Daniel appeared, blocking their path. His eyes were cold, calculating. "Olivia, you shouldn't have come," he said, voice low, almost amused. "You have no idea what you're interfering with." And in that instant, Olivia understood. The network wasn't just about her child. Daniel had other secrets, other layers, and the truth about that cruise night. The truth behind Sierra Holt, the missing files, and Lily's disappearance was far more twisted than she imagined. Just as Olivia prepared to confront him, a sudden sound behind Daniel made everyone freeze. A key piece of the puzzle revealing a shocking betrayal she never saw coming.